Then during lunch, Ralph showed him some pornographic pictures.
Public service announcements are what the government used to teach us to be less insufferable idiots. I've been watching a lot of them lately, because that's what I do in my spare time. I watch PSAs and sacrifice small animals.
This is crack, rock cocaine. It isn't glamorous or cool or kid stuff. It's the most addictive kind of cocaine, and it can kill you. What's really bad is nobody knows how much it takes. So every time you use it, you risk dying.
At this point, you might be wondering what's wrong with his voice. And no, I don't mean my own voice, but the man in this PSA. That's Pee Wee Herman. Pee Wee Herman is like the American equivalent of Mr. Bean. And if Mr. Bean were ever to do a public service announcement, that would be a sad day. So as you'd expect, no one took this PSA seriously. Partly because the lighting makes him look like an Orwellian dictator, which is quite an achievement considering it's Pee Wee Herman we're talking about.
Monsters do have their place. In the zoo, in your nightmares, in the deep, in your favorite horror movies. But not in your living room, on your TV. Don't let pay TV be the monster in your living room. Pay TV and cable TV companies are seeking the right to charge you for the very programs you now get free. If you want to stop pay TV and save free television, sign the petition in the lobby of this theater. Let your lawmakers know how you feel in the fight against pay TV and cable TV.
Whereas the last PSA made me feel like taking illegal drugs would send me to hell, this one made me feel like I'm on psychedelics right now. So this was aired in the 1960s, when people were more reserved and thought cable TV would corrupt their children, so they campaigned against it. That's right, while the civil rights movement was in full swing, some people were focusing more on the expansion of television, because it was so much more important. I'd love to bring those people back from the past and show them Netflix. I bet they lose their minds.
Hey, little dude, send your mama and daddy out of the room. I gotta get you up on this. You know who I am. Snake, dealing in weed, coke, crack, your choice. Take one hit and you'll do anything to cop more. Steal from your mama, lie, cheat on your homeboys. But hey, that's the price you pay when you deal with dudes like me. Now, some folks will tell you that I'm dealing in poison. But hey, do I look like the kind of guy that would do that to a kid like you?
What? I don't know what the hell just happened. So at the beginning of this PSA, when he was bragging about dealing, I thought, could they possibly glamorize drug dealing anymore? And so I expected him to reveal some kind of downside to selling drugs, to show something bad about himself, but I wasn't expecting this.
But hey, do I look like the kind of guy that would do that to a kid like you? Yes!
What kind of lunatic? I don't know what the hell just happened.
Doing a real good job on your picture.
Coffee.
Please.
I'd like some more too, please. Sure.
She spilled my coffee.
I'm sorry, sir.
You fucking bitch. I'll bring you a little coffee. How do you like this?
You wouldn't get away with it here. You shouldn't get away with it at home.
Okay, there are so many things to say here, I don't know where to begin. First of all, the children didn't even react to any of that. It's like they didn't even notice. So I don't know what kind of zombie kids he's raising. If you ask me, she deserves it. And the reason I say that is everyone else in the cafe saw the whole thing. If she was an innocent woman, surely someone would have intervened. But no one did. Even her co-workers. The people who knew her best were nowhere to be seen. This one is an absolute classic. It tells the story of Jimmy, a young boy who hitchhikes a ride from a strange man. By complete coincidence, the man looks exactly like how you would imagine a pedophile would. And this was in the 1960s, long before stereotypes about pedophiles had kicked in. Up to this point, we figure the man is some kind of child molester. And then this happens.
The following Saturday, they went fishing together. By now, they were using first names. Ralph said it was more friendly. Jimmy hadn't enjoyed himself so much in a long time. Then during lunch, Ralph showed him some pornographic pictures. Jimmy knew he shouldn't be interested, but, well, he was curious. What Jimmy didn't know was that Ralph was sick. A sickness that was not visible like smallpox, but no less dangerous and contagious, a sickness of the mind. You see, Ralph was a homosexual.
When I first heard the narrator say that, I screamed so loud I woke up every baby in the neighborhood. And I wasn't screaming with excitement. I was horrified. The PSA ended with the implication Jimmy got raped. And I'm not going to make any jokes about that. There's no way.
This kid died from using illegal drugs. And this kid died from using prescription painkillers. Now you tell me, which one's more dead?
Now, I've been asked some bizarre questions before, like that one time I got lost on BuzzFeed. At one point, we've all spent hours on that website before narrowly avoiding suicide. But this question is the strangest I've ever been asked.
Which one's more dead?
Why is he asking that? This is my first time in a morgue. I'm feeling vulnerable as it is, and he's asking me that. I don't know what kind of girl he thinks I am. What kind of first date is this? What kind of man takes his lover to a morgue? This one's amazing as it's so overly dramatic. It shows a Native American canoeing past industrial factories, and the narration tells that the environment is being ruined by pollution. And so the native walks up to a highway when a passing driver throws a bag of food that lands right at his feet. It's at this point you would assume they stopped being so dramatic so they could make a serious point. But no, they double down, zooming in on the native to show a single tear fall from his eye. It really doesn't feel like an environmental message, more like anti-native propaganda. It's saying we stole your land and now we throw garbage at you. Boys Beware became a cult classic, but it has a less well-known sibling. Girls Beware teaches a similar lesson to young girls, and was only slightly less insensitive in doing so. It tells the story of Sally. While seeing a new film, she met two older lads.
When the show was over and they were leaving, the boys suggested that if Elizabeth couldn't go with them, why didn't Sally come? Sally thought it was a great idea and asked Elizabeth to tell her folks that her parents had picked her up. Elizabeth didn't like the idea, but Sally insisted. So, Elizabeth left alone. Not any of the boys she went with had a car, so it was fun riding with the older fellows. But when they drove right past her house, she became concerned. When they arrived at Lookout Peak, she was frightened. She tried to convince herself there was nothing to worry about, but when they parked off the road, she knew she had gotten herself into something she couldn't handle.
Oh, wow. That was quite suspenseful. Suspense is something modern filmmakers have lost. But if you go back and look at classic films like Carnival of Souls, it was so much better than just gore and jump scares. We now have the biggest fail in PSA history. In 1991, the US government wanted to tackle the use of crack cocaine in black communities. Their method: public service announcements. Given racial tensions, they needed to be sensitive, as any controversy may only make things worse. And so they chose the least controversial theme possible: slavery. Depicting the atrocities of slavery, they linked smoking crack to the slave trade in the most insensitive way possible.
Almost
400 years ago, African Americans were brought to this continent in chains. Stripped of their dignity, torn from their families, they never surrendered till they were free. Don't dishonor them by becoming a slave to heroin, cocaine, and crack. Make no mistake, drug abuse is the new slavery.
This next one isn't going to seem real, but I promise it is. I promise the Irish government had this shown on TV.
She's got a smile that it seems to me reminds me of childhood memories where everything was as fresh as the bright blue sky. Now and then when I see her face, she takes me away to that special place. And if I stayed too long, I'd probably break down and cry. Oh, sweet child of mine.
I don't think it's meant to be as funny as it is. It's the music, the sweet music to the children playing in the park. Next thing you know, the kids are dead. Every single one of those children got crushed. The teachers survived, but the kids are dead. It's just the most ridiculous thing. Indiana Jones style. If only those kids had some kind of float plane. I don't know what kind of maniac made this. So that's the end of this video. If you want to support this channel, you can do so simply by leaving a like. And if you want more content from me, I have a second channel where I do different videos about different things.